Okay, thank you, Nanita. So today is week 10. So we are happy to have you all here. You have gone so far around 3 months and full of stress and full of hard work. So let's start up the today's challenge, and we will focus on this week. We will focus on the change point analysis and how can we model this using statistics, and how can we be confident on detecting change, associating this with events and linking them to a useful information. So today I want you to think of how you can be a smart guesser who can guess the event and also who can link who will take that as a starting point and validate that through statistics and build this his or her confidence interval. So basically what does mean is that this week is mainly analyzing Brent oil prices, which have its oil price and date. It's simple, but how you can guess or predict the oil price, because as you know, oil price is variable due to certain things. You cannot control the price. And for the merchants, for anyone who wants to participate in this oil business, he wants to know whether they, they have to buy the oil now or tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. So if certain rules and regulation influence the price of the oil, or a war in Syria might affect the oil price, or you can have multiple scenarios as well. But how can you say the presence of war in Syria have affected the oil price, the mean oil price to become from 15 to 60? So in order to say this, you have to know when is the change occurred and what caused the change, and also what's the change means. Like, did you lift up from here to there, or what's that change intensity? You have to know that. So, as a data analyst for this week's challenge as well, you will work on Brahan Energy's problem, which is a leading consultancy firm, and they will give strategic advice to stakeholders for the energy sector, and with the mission to help these clients to navigate into this complex global energy market. Brahan Energy will focus on delivering this actionable intelligence to support the decision-making process. And your task would be what are how what are the political or economical events that affects the Brent oil price, and how big these political events. To understand this, you have to see that the conflicts in oil producing areas, or an international sanction, or an OPEC policy might change that affects the markets. So this oil price is not stable. It's make it hard for investors just to come in to buy. Okay, I have to buy 10,000 barrels of oil for this month. Maybe tomorrow, due to certain reasons, the price may go down or go up. So in order to manage their risk and maximize their return, this kind of advice that Rahan Energies gives for these investors will be essential. So, as a data scientist, what you will task to do is you you can forecast the price accurately and control the costs and helps to secure the supply chain. What are the key events that have significant impact on the Brent oil price over the past decades? You will identify those events. Let's say we have COVID, the big event that we have, or we have war in Syria, or you can formulate others based on the information that you have from the web. Maybe OPEC have changed certain rules and regulations. You can have that as well, and you will measure how much this event affects the oil price. So where you could put it, this in terms of the price in mean or median, um, in average, and also you can provide a clear data-driven insight to guide these investment strategies and policy development for the operational planning. So the data have debt and oil price, which is in USD per barrel. So you are expected to use that data to find pattern, explore with the data, see what's the change when the change occurs, and due to that change, what was the major event occurred in the globe. So that will help you to understand the change and linking this change to the event that's occurred. So based on this, what we will learn is what's the change point analysis as a skill. What does it mean by change? And how can you interpret that? And what's statistical reasoning? And this PyM C3 is a Python standard Python library for Bayesian modeling, and you will understand what's Bayesian modeling meanwhile, and how can you uh, tell a story from the data. So these are the knowledge lists that you will get. You will understand what's Bayesian inference, what's Monte Carlo Markov chain. Um, what about this model comparison, policy analysis? You will see different things from multiple angles. So as usual, we will have the challenge production, which is today, and we will have the interim submission on Sunday. And the final submission will be on next Tuesday, which is this is a 1 week challenge where we expect you to finalize. So let's go deep into the instructions. In this week's challenge, it's not much more of doing things or coding or have more complicated code, but it's about how understanding the problem, understanding the problem, and how you can relate that problem with the data that you have, and how can you say this have bring this change. So your main priority is to understand what's a Bayesian change point model or Bayesian inference, and how can you link with this change point detection, and how can you deliver a functional and interactive uh, dashboard for the end user to interact with to see this. Since you have, if you have modeled something for the future, it will work as well. So people can see and take this as a starting point for their investment gain or for their investment risk analysis. Maybe we can take a simple example for this scenario because if you want to have, let's say this is an investment, so you want to uh, you have a backpack which contains your daily use and you have to go to work. So for that purpose, you will collect, let's say I will collect my PC. I have some other utilities that I need to have, and I will pack my lunch. So those things should have to be in my backpack. And in addition to that, I have seen the weather and it looks like rainy. But I have to prove that today is rainy. So I have to grab my raincoat, or um, I have to wear something which is which gives me good environment. Like I have to refrain from the rain. I have to have uh, I have to conserve heat. So for that purpose, I need to check first. I need to check the sky, and I can see that it's cloudy. Then next, I will go and check the weather site, and I can confirm that it's likely to rain 90%. 90% of the meteorology site says today is rainy, so I need to grab my raincoat. I need to have additional utilities, like if you say it's umbrella, I have to bring that with me. So previously, I have guessed, due to the sky change, I have guessed that today it might rain, but I proved that through the meteorology data it will rain 95%. So I have to bring all the necessary utilities for me. Similar to that, this change point analysis is also the same with that. So this is one scenario, or let's say maybe you have the other scenario. You have to log your daily spending for coffee. I drink coffee for uh, 25 per day, and I have to drink one cup of coffee. So every time I will log this price, I have to add on my logbook, and I have spent 25 per, I have spent 25 per. But later on, at some day, I have drink three cup of coffee because I have a workload and I have a deadline that I need to meet. So for that, I have spent 75 per. And the day after that, I spend the same. The day after that, I spend the same. Then later on, when I check my spendings, my average spending from, let's say for 1 month, it goes from 25 per to 75 for 3 days, and my average has changed. So that can show me there is something happening in that specific month within my coffee intake. So I need to have to monitor that one. I have to go back and check what specific things happen in that in those days. So as I have told you earlier, I have a deadline that I need to meet. So I have three consecutive days, and for those days I need to spend more time and energy. I have spent a lot of money, more than expected for that specific month. So how can you apply for this? I have to detect the change in this specific thing, which is I have to find a specific day when the spending pattern has been changed from 25 birr to 75 birr. So that's the change point modeling. And the Bayesian inference is, it's like making a smart guess about something. That means I have spent 25 per day on a cup of coffee, and my spend um, based on the data that I have, my spend have increased from 25 per to 75 per. which is the evidence that I have. And in Bayesian inference, I have to update my guess to, let me say, due to the tasks that I have in the past few days, the change is coming, and I can see that there is a spike in my spending in that specific month. But I'm not 90% accurate, or I'm not 99% confident, or 95% confident. For that, I have to infer from the data I have, like my spend from the past month, my spend was around per day. If you can uh, multiply 20 by 22 working days, 25, it's around 550. And now I have added um, additional 75, let's say, for 3 days. So my spend goes from 550 to 650. I have 100% there, but I don't know what specifically triggers this. So I need to use my Bayesian inference. This is because of this I have this price change, or I have this spending change. So this is the overall thing that you need to consider on this week's challenge. Is the main is understanding what's Bayesian inference and what's change point analysis. And for that, you have three tasks, which is basically task one is about understanding the data, how it flows, and researching on event data. You will compile an event data, or if it's a major OPEC decision or political events or any economic shock that's relevant to this oil market, you will compile and have that CSV file containing at least 10 to 15 key events. And for that, you will identify and state an assumptions and limitation of the analysis, which is like due to this, the oil price might change, might go up or down. So that's your assumptions, and you can find the difference between this statistical correlation and what's the in time, and also what's the causal impact that it has. So the main idea in this channel is how you can format your communication for the stakeholders. That means how you can understand the model and the data. Any question? So you can read the reference that we have added for to understand the key concept about the project. And also before modeling, you have to investigate the Brent oil data. What are the key properties like trends, or is there any stationarity or any volatility? You can check in that. And you can discuss what's this property from your to inform your modeling choice. Then you will explain the purpose of change point models in the context of analyzing this price fluctuation. It's more or less understanding what's the problem, the data that you have, and the solution you're going to provide. And on the second task, sorry for that, I think some glitch there. Mm. So on the second task, you are expected to model the change point modeling and the insight generation, where you can implement the Bayesian change point detection model using this IMC3 to identify the statistically significant structural breaks in the Brent oil uh, price series, and also identifying those change points, interpret the model's output, and associate those changes with the cause, the initial cause that you have identified in the task one. And you will quantify the impact based on like numbers. What's the impact? What percent? Is that an increase or a decrease? Or is it something that you have observed from the data plus the events, the major events that you have collected? As an optional, you can also explore additional potential factors that are GDP or the inflation rate or any exchange rates that are associated with this oil price. So you can also add as an additional features this or factors that affect the oil price, and you can add modeling to this insight using the vector autoregression model to analyze the dynamic relationship between the oil price and the microeconomic variables or macro switching model. So these are some of the things that if you have time, you can explore more or go deep to this specific section. If not, the mandatory task is just to build uh, the change point analysis model and also to quantify, to associate with the cause that brings this change and also to quantify its impact. So the suggested approach here, we have stated a suggested approach for you to follow. You can go through them and to understand what's there inside. And the next task is developing the interactive dashboard for data analysis results. So you have a dashboard, and uh, we have a technology selected for you. You will use Flask as a backend and React as a front end, and you will show how this change comes from time to time and what are the possible events that uh, cause this change. So you can show this through graphs and descriptions to it. So these are the tasks, and this will be the tutorial schedules that we have for this week's challenge. And for the submissions, as usual, we will have two submissions. The one is the interim submission, the other is the final submission. So these are the references for you to understand how you can detect change point, how you can use Bayesian to detect inference to detect this change point, and what are the statistical analysis. Do you have any question or anything which is not clear? Is it clear or is it confusing? Have you understand something? Okay, thanks, Nurie. So, other than Nurie, and yes, you have to, first of all, you have to collect the major events like COVID, or whether you said it, any rule and new rule and regulation by OPEC or any economic factor. You have to specify that first. Then that's the cause, and then you will check the price spikes, either it's go down or it's go up. So you'll point out those dates, and you could verify your cause within those specific dates. If it happens within that specific date, let's say COVID is in 2019, and the price have changed from in 2020, and it gets lower. This is your initial assumption, and you will prove that through data. You would go and explore the data you during the 2020 time, or how the oil price was trending. That means either it's go up or it go down, and from that data, you can either say you can either prove or disprove your initial cause. Due to maybe you can see that the price is not changing; it's as usual. So due to COVID, there is no cause. You can say like that, but this modeling should have to be standard enough to show for multiple timings. Okay. Any question? At least, do we have understood what's the core thing? Any question or anything? Yes, it's kind of ምንድን ነው የሚባለው ከኢንትረስቲንግ በላይ ይሄ ቻንስን ፕሩፍ ማድረግ ነው። ለምሳሌ የድሮ ጌሞች ላይ እንዲሁ ልጆች ሆነን ስንጫወት ምን ኔክስት ምን አይነት መኪና ይመጣል፣ ምን አይነት ቀለም ያለው መኪና፣ ምን አይነት እንትን ያለው ምናምን ዲስ ካይንድ ኦፍ ገስ ሰምታይምስ ብዙ ኮስት ሊያስደርጉን ይችላሉ። ሰምታይምስ ያን ለጨዋታ ስለነበረ ምናምን እናደርጋቸው ነበረ። ግን የመኪናውን ታርጋ ቁጥር መጨረሻ ፕሬዲክት ማድረግ ገስ ማድረግ ቤዝድ ኦን እስካሁን ባየነው የታርጋ እንትን እሱን ገስ ማድረግ ኦር ኢቭን የራሳችንን ሄልዝ ሞኒተር በምናደርግበት ሰዓት እንኳን ዩዥሊ ሁሌም ስልካችሁ ላይ ካያችሁት ስማርትፎኖቹ ላይ ሞስት ኦፍ ስማርትፎን ወክ ካውንት ያደርጋሉ እና ግን የሆነ ቀን ላይ ከኖርማሉ በበለጠ ወቅት አደርጉና ወይ ስፓይክ ያደርጋል፣ አለበለዚያ ደግሞ ብዙ ወቅት ካላደረጋችሁ ወደ ታች ይወርዳል። ስለዚህ ዞስ ዴይስ ምን አይነት ኢቨንት ነበረ እና በዛ ኢቨንት ምክንያት ወይ ያንን ሁሌም ማድረግ አለባችሁ ወይ ወክ የምታደርጉበት ታይም ከጨመረ፣ ምክንያቱም ሄልዛችሁን ሞኒተር ለማድረግ ነው እና ወክ የምታደርጉት። ኦር ደግሞ ከቀነሰ እንደዛ አይነት ኢቨንቶች እንዳይደጋገሙ ቀድሞ ለእናንተ ማስጠንቀቂያ ይሆናል ማለት ነው። እና ለኢንቨስተሮቹ እንደዛው አይዘር ፕራይስ ከጨመረ ሜቢ በገዙት ተመራጭ ነው። ምክንያቱም ያላቸውን አውጥተው ቢሸጡ ሞር ትርፋማ ስለሚሆኑ በቀነሰ ፕራይስ። ኦር ፕራይስ ከቀነሰ ደግሞ በዛ በቀነሰው ፕራይስ ሞር ቢገዙና ፕራይሱ ስፓይክ ሲያደርግ ቢሸጡት ስለሚመረጥ ትርፋማነታቸውን ማክሲማይዝ ለማድረግ እንዲህ አይነት ኢንፎርሜሽኖች ያስፈልጋሉ። ይህንን ኢንፎርሜሽን ፕሮቫይድ ማድረግ ነው እንደ ዴታ ሳይንቲስት ኤክስፔክት የሚደረግባችሁ። ስለዚህ የተማረ ገማች ሞዴል መፍጠር ነው የዚህ ዊክ ታስክ። ጥያቄ ከሌለ እዚህ ጋር መዝጋት እንችላለን። ጥያቄ ካለ ማስተናገድ ይቻላል። ኦኬ፣ ጥያቄ ከሌለ thank you everyone for joining. Let's wrap it up here.